Okay folks, Philly Boy J back here with another video. Today we're going to be making cornbread stuffing, which is another Thanksgiving dish. It's Thanksgiving time, so I'm going to be making a lot of foods that people like to prepare for Thanksgiving. You're going to need some chicken gizzards, and what we're going to do is we're going to clean these bad boys off. So we're going to rinse them really well, and we're going to be boiling them for about an hour. It takes a while for chicken gizzards to get nice and tender. We're going to rinse them off, and then we're going to get a pot. You're going to fill your pot up with water. You're going to place it over medium heat, and you're going to allow your chicken gizzards to boil and simmer on medium heat for about 1 hour. It's going to take these bad boys a little while to get nice and tender, okay? And the reason that you want them to be tender is because you don't want to bite into really hard chunks and tough pieces of chicken gizzards. And if you don't boil them and you just chop them up and fry them, when you eat your cornbread stuffing, it's going to be really tough and chewy, and you don't want that. You want it to almost melt in your mouth, okay? So I have a big bowl here, and I want you guys to focus on the measurements, okay? We're going to be adding 1.5 cups of cornmeal, 1.5 cups of cornmeal. We're going to blend this all together. You're going to need a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. Going to use a 1/2 cup of flour, and you're going to need 1 full cup of sugar. This is one of those unique ingredients that a lot of people don't use. Some people don't put sugar in their cornbread stuffing, okay? You're going to need just 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, I want you guys to try this recipe out. I know sometimes you may be intimidated when you see a recipe of ingredients that you're not familiar with, but try it out. It's really, really good. 3 tablespoons of parsley flakes. Like I said, if you can go out and get some fresh parsley, I recommend that you do so. The fresh parsley just gives it more flavor, give it that parsley because it's kind of wet and the juice is still kind of fresh. Okay, these are just flakes, okay? So we're going to add that, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our sage. The sage is what, cornbread stuffing ain't cornbread stuffing without sage. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of sage. You have to add sage to your cornbread stuffing. I don't know anybody that don't add sage to that cornbread stuffing. Okay, so we're going to add the 2 tablespoons of sage. Okay. And you're going to add your garlic powder. You're going to add 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. Don't be gentle with this, guys. We want to make sure that this cornbread stuffing is flavorful, because this is going to be the best. I said the best cornbread stuffing recipe that you ever seen in your life. Don't nobody make cornbread stuffing like Philly Boy J. Nobody. 2 tablespoons of onion powder. I said I make the best cornbread stuffing in the whole wide world. Don't nobody make cornbread stuffing like Philly Boy J. I'll pay you to find somebody that make cornbread stuffing like me. I'll pay you. I'll pay you. And then you got 2 tablespoons of seasoning salt. That's going to give it taste, of course. Got to add some salt now. Can't have no cornbread stuffing that's gonna be saltless. Gotta add some salt to it. Ain't gonna have no taste without no salt. And now we're just gonna add 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Be really cautious with this. If you add too much pepper, it would ruin the dish. Pepper is really, really strong. I remember one time when I was inexperienced, I added some pepper and I added a little too much, and it was so spicy I couldn't eat it. It was not enjoyable. You have the melted butter. We already combined our dry ingredients, so we're getting ready to combine our liquid ingredients. You're going to beat these 3 eggs up, and you're going to beat them up for about 2 minutes. You want to make sure that they're well blended and well beaten up. Okay, you want to batter those eggs up really, really well. Okay, so beat them up, batter them up. And we're going to get ready to combine all of these ingredients, our buttermilk, our melted butter, our battered 3 eggs, and our vegetable oil. You get you a really big bowl. Get you a big bowl. And what we're going to add first is we're going to add our 1.5 cups of buttermilk. Okay, add your 1.5 cups of buttermilk. And then you're going to add your 3 eggs. your 3 battered eggs, and you're going to add your stick and a half of butter. That butter gives it a lot of flavor. It's nothing without the butter. The butter gives it a lot of flavor. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to add 2/3 cups of vegetable oil. Vegetable oil is what makes it moist. If it's not, I mean, it don't really need to be moist when you're making cornbread stuffing, because we are going to add the chicken broth later on, and we're going to add the cream of chicken and the cream of celery. That's going to give it some moisture. But just so that the actual cornbread is soft and moist, you want to add the vegetable oil. We're going to give that a nice stir, and what we're going to do now is we're going to combine our dry and liquid ingredients just like we did with the cornbread video, folks. We blended together all of the dry ingredients, then the wet ingredients, and then we combine them together. So be cautious with this, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to add a little bit of milk first. You're going to give it a nice stir. And if you feel like you need more, you can add more. Okay, if you don't feel like you need more, then you don't have to add more. Okay, but you're going to give that a nice stir and make sure that all of your ingredients are well blended. Okay, but if you take a good look at that, you can see that the cornbread is really, really flavorful. You can see all of the herbs we have in it. We have the parsley flakes. We have everything in there. The seasoned, the garlic powder, the onion powder. It's going to be well seasoned cornbread stuffing. Now, some people season theirs afterwards, but I just do mine like this because I don't see the point. I figure, you know, you want to make it flavorful and you want to season it. Why do it at the end? You know, just do it now. So that's the way it should look. Okay, I actually season my cornbread before I bake it. Not a lot of people do that. We're going to place this in a big baking pan. We still have our chicken gizzards boiling, so we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You can give this a taste test. You feel like you need more of an ingredient, then add more. Okay, we're going to pour this mixture into a big baking pan, and we're going to bake this on 350 for about 45 minutes to an hour. And that's why cornbread stuffing takes a long time, because you have to bake it twice. You know, so we're going to bake this on 350 for 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to cut your onions down this way, like this. Going to cut it the long way, slice it up that way, and then you're going to cut it again. They are going to shrink up when you fry them anyway, but you want them to be as small as possible when you add them to the cornbread stuffing. You don't want to bite into really big chunks of vegetables, okay? So make sure that they look like that. You want to make sure that they're tiny and, you know, finely chopped like that. They don't have to be super small, but like that. Now we're going to chop up our red bell pepper, okay? And you're going to chop it up the long way, as I always show you guys in my videos when I'm chopping up my bell peppers. Going to chop it the long way, like that. Okay, and you're not going to need the whole red pepper. If you want to use the whole, you can. I would only recommend that you use about 1/4 to a half of red peppers, okay? And then you're going to turn it over and you're going to slice it the long way. Okay, so you want it to be in little small dices like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to chop up our orange peppers. And this is just going to allow your cornbread stuffing to look really pretty. I don't like just using green peppers. I figure we already got the green celery in there. Why use a green pepper, you know? It's going to look like an autumn dish. Look at that. Look at them beautiful peppers. Beautiful orange peppers, beautiful red peppers. Now what we're going to do is we're going to chop up our celery. And you're going to chop it down the middle. Okay, so you're going to chop it down the middle. Like that. And then you're going to chop it sideways, the way I'm chopping it now, like this. Going to chop it sideways into little chunks. Okay, don't worry about chopping it up too small. When we fry it, it will shrink up. Don't worry about that. It's definitely going to shrink up. We're going to chop our gizzards up. And we're going to chop the gizzards up as small as possible. Gizzards are kind of, you don't want them to be big. Okay, you don't want them to be big. You don't want big gizzards in your cornbread stuffing. You want them to almost be invisible. You don't even want to be able to notice. When you bite into your cornbread stuffing, you shouldn't even notice that you're biting into gizzards. Now you're going to squeeze. This is how you're going to do your sweet Italian sausage. You're going to squeeze the meat out of the pork skin that's wrapped around the Italian sausage. You are not going to just chop them up into big pieces. You're going to squeeze. You want it to look like ground beef, okay? And then you're going to chop that up. Sweet Italian sausage is kind of thick, so you're going to need to chop that up with your knife, okay? You're going to chop it up like that, and you're going to get a frying pan, and you're going to place your frying pan over medium heat. We're going to be frying this, okay? You don't have to use oil if you don't want. You want to be healthy, don't use oil, but I like to use a little bit of oil, okay? We're going to use just 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Make sure your pan is over medium heat. Make sure it's over medium heat, and you're going to add your sweet Italian sausage. And you know, that's one of the unique things that I put in my cornbread stuffing. Some people use chicken. They use some people don't use meat at all. I just don't get it. I don't get it. But you know, my secret ingredient is, you know, the sweet Italian sausage. I think that the sweet Italian sausage really brings out a nice taste. It has a pork flavor to it. It is pork actually, and it has all of those other seasons in it. I believe it has like rosemary and thyme and all of those other seasons and flavors. It really gives the cornbread stuffing a nice flavor. But you're going to need to chop this up as you cook it. It's going to harden. You see how it's hardening right there? And you're going to need to chop it up, because if you don't chop it up, it's going to be really big chunks of sweet Italian sausage, and you do not want that in your cornbread stuffing, okay? So give that a nice chop. Okay, the heat is going to hit it. That's going to help break it down a little easier. Give that a nice chop. That's going to be the best cornbread stuffing on YouTube. I said the best cornbread stuffing that you ever saw in your life. Ain't nobody got a recipe for cornbread stuffing like this. Just don't taste as good and flavorful as mine. I said this is the best cornbread stuffing in the whole wide world. Don't nobody make cornbread stuffing like Philly Boy J, folks. Nobody. So that's the way it's looking now. You can add but actually, that's what we're going to do next. We're going to add our vegetables to this. Some people don't add that veg. They don't like to fry their vegetables. I do. Okay, so we're going to add the vegetables to the meat. If you like that raw flavor, you like that raw taste of your vegetables, and you don't want to fry your vegetables, you don't have to fry your vegetables. Okay, that is optional. So we're going to add the vegetables. We're going to give it a stir. Stir fry those vegetables. Oh, that looks so good, guys. That just looks so delicious. Look at that. Look at that. The onions, the celery, the red peppers. And now it's all done. Okay. It's all done. That's the way it should look. I want to just cut this up and just break it down a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to slice it this way. The only reason why I do this is because it just makes it easier to break up when you're adding it to the bowl. Okay, so you want to slice it like that, and then you're going to slice it the other way. Look at that. That is some flavorful cornbread. Okay, this ain't no regular cornbread. We're making cornbread stuffing, folks. Okay, we're making cornbread stuffing. Okay, so I'm just breaking lines in this and creating little cornbread squares of pieces so that it's easier for me to break up. You're going to get a big bowl. Okay, you're going to get a big bowl, and we're going to add our cornbread to the bowl, and we're going to mix our ingredients in this bowl. Okay, so start adding your pieces of cornbread to the bowl, and look at that. Look at all them flavors that you can see. Can't you see the sage inside of it? You can see the parsley flakes. It smells so good. You can just smell all the flavors coming out. Smell the sugar, the parsley flakes, the sage, the onion powder, the garlic powder. Okay, and it's big now, but you are going to break it up. You are going to break this up. You're going to add the cream of celery. Okay. Make sure you use the whole can, because this cornbread stuffing requires a lot of moisture. Okay, it's really, really dry now, even though we have the butter inside of it that we added earlier, but it's still fairly dry. Okay, so now we're going to add our cream of chicken, and we're going to add 4 cans altogether. I believe we have 3 cans of cream of chicken and 1 can of cream of celery. Okay, so we're going to add all of that. And some people don't even use this, but this is why this is the best cornbread stuffing recipe that you ever taste in your life. It's the best, folks. I said the best. Okay? Because that cream of chicken is going to give it a nice, unique flavor. Okay? So you're going to give this a nice stir. Blend that all together. Make sure it's nice and moist. You want to moisturize it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to moisturize it. Look at that. That cream of chicken gives it a nice flavor when you just mush it all together. Look at that. I know some people just use broth, but I got to do a little more than that. I can't just use no broth. I want something creamy. Okay, so you're going to blend that all together. Make sure it's well blended. And it's not moist enough yet. I know it looked moist, but once you put it into the oven, it's going to dry out a little bit. So here's what I do. Okay, the cans of cream of chicken and cream of celery that we use, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my chicken broth and I'm going to pour it in those cans. Okay, because as you can see in there, you have some cream of celery and some cream of chicken left inside of the cans. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your chicken broth, you're going to pour it in there, and you're going to stir the rest of that cream out. Okay, so we're going to pour it in there and you're going to stir it. Stir that cream out, because you want to make sure we get all that cream out of it. And you're going to pour the chicken broth onto the cornbread, because you want to make sure that it's nice and moist. You want it to be very, very wet. Not extremely wet, but you want it to be nice and wet like that right there. Okay, so after you get it nice and moist, and so you can see the rest of that cream of chicken coming out of the can, you want to stir this up. That cornbread is going to soak up all of that chicken broth and the cream. Look at it. It's soaking it up already. Cornbread just has a way of soaking stuff up. So you want it to be kind of moist like that. As you can see, it's a piece of chicken. There's some actual chicken inside of the cans of cream of chicken. You can see the chicken right there. It's a lot of chunks of chicken inside this cornbread stuffing. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to add our vegetables and meat that we fried earlier, and you're going to blend this all in. Oh, look at that. Look at that, folks. You can see the gizzards and the sweet Italian sausage, the celery, the onions, the red peppers, the orange peppers. So now you're going to get your baking pan that you had earlier, and we're going to pour the cornbread stuffing into the baking pan. And at this moment, this is a good time to preheat your oven to 350. You want to make sure that your oven is hot when we add this to the oven. Let it get hot for 10 minutes before you place this in the oven, folks. Okay, because that would affect the cooking time. Okay, so we're going to just smooth this all out, and we're going to bake this on 350. You're going to bake it for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, you're going to give it another stir and bake it for another 15 minutes, okay? Because it doesn't cook all the way through the first time around. And look at that. There you have it, guys. Cornbread stuffing. A wonderful thing to eat for Thanksgiving. Is really something that's commonly made during the Thanksgiving holiday. Look at the color. Look at that. Look at the sweet Italian sausage, the peppers, the onions. This is really well seasoned. It's flavorful. It tastes really good. Follow this recipe. I know you guys will like it. Look at that. Oh my God. And try this with a little bit of turkey and some gravy. Pour the gravy. Just pour a little bit of gravy on there, folks. Just pour some gravy on there. The gravy just really bring it out. cornbread stuffing with some turkey. Put the gravy on the turkey. I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make some turkey soon, okay? But I'm making all of these Thanksgiving dishes to show you guys how to make these Thanksgiving dishes. So if you're inexperienced and don't know how to cook and don't got a family that's going to be cooking for you guys, just watch my channel. I got you guys, okay? I hope you enjoy this recipe. Try it out. It's really, really good. I know you guys would enjoy it. And again, have a wonderful Thanksgiving and enjoy the holidays with your families. God bless you all. Try this recipe out. I hope you enjoy it. Peace.